Nah, nah, Jimmy, you're good. I can't love you like I knew I should. I know this is my home, 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 home. Been a Jimmy here and a Jimmy there. These long, long trains have gone near everywhere. We're the Dukes, I will not lie. And when you ask, I'll sing it every time. Gonna sing now, oh Duke Dog, so Duke Dog. You got my whole heart, Duke Dog. My Duke Dog's got all of my love. Nah, nah, Jimmy, you're good. I can't love you like I knew I should. I know this is my home. I'm not going anywhere for long. No, Jimmy, I'm good. I can't love you like I knew I should. I've loved my time with you, and to you I'll always stay true. JMU, JMU, JMU. Live from JMU, it's Tuesday night.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday Night Live. My name is Cuda Zmuda. I'm a rising sophomore from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I am a finance and communication study double major. And we have a really great show for you tonight with segments from Carson, Rebecca, Tim Miller, myself, and our special guest, Brandy Lindsey. And now we are going to throw it on over to Carson for the weekly update.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second or third week in May. So I'm really excited because one of my favorite things is kind of come back into the picture after this long break of quarantine. So I absolutely love movies. I like going to the movies and watching movies, and that's kind of my pastime. And actually in this past week with phase 1, at least in Virginia, they opened up outside movie theaters at 50% capacity, which I was excited about because these movies can finally come out and you can go see them. So if you're in the Virginia area, we've got two outdoor movies or drive-in movies. One is in Stevens City and one is in Lexington. So check those out or check one around you to see if there's something that you can do. It's just a little bit of a different activity. Also, ABC Family and all the other network channels are kind of bringing back something that I used to watch back when Netflix and Hulu and all those things were not existent. When we would watch movies, you had to pick or watch whatever was on TV. So they had specific movie nights, and they're bringing those back to network television. So sometimes it just seems even cooler when it's already on TV for you. You didn't have to scroll and pick for 30 minutes. I know I do that. So check those out if you have cable or you're at home with any of those network channels. And from all of this, I have re-found some movies that I haven't seen in a long time from the early 2000s. And so next week, we will start a bracket challenge of our favorite 2000s movies. And so if there's a particular movie that you like from the 2000s, so this is 2000 to 2009, movies in there, drop it in the chat and we will put it in the bracket. Now I'm going to order the bracket a little bit different, and then next week we're going to vote to have one ultimate winner over the next few weeks on these movies. So that is my news update. I'm going to pass it over to Rebecca.
Excellent. Thank you, Carson. We're back with our ¿Sabías qué? Segment where we find out what we need to find out. We're going to first start with a poll for our audience. Cue our poll, please. And we're going to ask our audience members, what is your overall feeling about the start of summer? 1, fun freaking-tastic. 2, meh. 3, overwhelmed and living life. 4, ready to bring it on. We'll give the audience a few seconds to select their current state of how you're feeling about the start of summer. All right, we'll close that and look at our results. Excellent. All right, so we've got a tie. And it looks like our audience is leaning a little towards the mellower side of the evening. So our hope is that after about 30-40 minutes, everyone might be feeling a little bit better. So to start us off, ¿Sabías que astronauts have described space as smelling like hot metal or seared steak? ¿Sabías que Scotland's national animal is the unicorn? ¿Sabías que koalas, chimpanzees, and gorillas all have human-like fingerprints? ¿Sabías que the only mammals that can dance to a beat are humans? Well, some of us. And sea lions. ¿Sabías que we've all been pronouncing Dr. Seuss's name wrong? It's pronounced sois, rhymes with voice. ¿Sabías que the Statue of Liberty's full name is Liberty Enlightening the World? And ¿sabías que Hawaiian pizza was created in Canada by a Greek immigrant in 1962? With that, I'm going to pull up our second poll, please. Speaking of pizza, you accidentally ate some radioactive pizza last night. The good news is it tasted great. The even better news is that it's given you one superpower of your choice. Which of the following do you choose? Flight, invisibility, X-ray vision, or super strength? Everyone got their answer in? All right, let's queue up our answers and see. Our audience is tied again with flight and invisibility. I feel like I've gotten such a good sense of who is in our call this evening. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating.
Excellent. So now I have the very special honor of getting to introduce tonight's special guest. So in her own words, Brandy is a James Madison reject that somehow still ended up bleeding a little purple and gold. Virginia Beach, born and raised, she wakes up every weekday as one half of the Q Morning Show. She's a sarcastic but sassy Aquarius that likes long walks on the beach and is single, in case one of your uncles is looking. Q101 on-air personality and unofficial JMU game day hype woman, it is my pleasure to introduce Brandy Lindsey.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So first off, for a little bit of the time, we just wanted to start off doing a kind of hot seat per se, where we are going to just ask several different questions. And so you're going to answer, depending if I have a good answer for them, I might answer. And we would love if all of you guys were willing, you can share your answers down in the comments too. So starting off simple, what would your favorite color be?
Gray.
Okay. Why gray?
It's very underrated, but I feel like it goes with a lot of different other colors. So, I don't know. I like things that people don't normally go for, and that seems to be one that I think it's a good color.
I love
gray
that.
Goes good with purple.
Gray really goes good with almost all the colors, if you think about it.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, a nice gray and blue.
Might be your new favorite color now.
That might be stretching it. Gotta stay loyal to purple through and through. Okay, so if you had to choose, because you're originally from Virginia Beach, do you like the beach or the mountains better?
Gotta go with the water.
All the way.
The mountains are pretty. I went to school actually, so didn't get into JMU, but I ended up going to school at Radford. So got to live in the valley there too, but the beach has my heart. There's something about, I have like a Google Home, so sometimes at night I'll have it like, hey Google, play the waves. I hope it doesn't start right now. But yeah.
Yeah, that is really soothing. I'm excited the beaches are actually opening up here on Friday, so it will be time to make a reappearance. If you were a cereal, which cereal do you think you would be and why?
Ooh, that is a good, thought-provoking question. Like, I would want to be something popular. Like, I'm a real big fan of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so, like, I would want to be Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But I think I would probably really be something like Apple Jacks.
What is your favorite cereal?
Oh, it's definitely Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
For sure.
And
So-
now they have like churro, like it's like churros toast crunch or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's really good too. That's my new favorite.
Yeah, my favorite cereal is Raisin Bran, which people think is really weird, but I don't know if I would be Raisin Bran though.
What would you be?
I think if I were a cereal, I don't know. I feel like it would be fun to be Cheerios because you can be like heart healthy and, spreading the love and enjoying that. But I also feel like sometimes I give off whatever that cookie cereal is. I feel like I give off that energy. No, wait, scratch it. I'm going to be the IHOP pancake cereal. IHOP is releasing a new pancake cereal where it's like maple covered, I don't know, like maple covered cereal that are shaped like pancakes.
Are you saying you want to be covered in maple syrup?
No, I think I like the energy.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Megan. Megan said I would be Rice Krispies because they pop. Wow.
Ooh.
And Mandy said that there's a Sour Patch Kid cereal. That kind of sounds disgusting. I have to admit.
You got to try it though, right?
I don't know. That seems like a glutton for punishment, my kind of guess.
Sounds like a great way to start the day.
So if you won the lottery, what do you think you would do with the money?
I would probably, so you can see the guitar behind me, I would probably buy things that I don't really need. Like right now, just kind of not being able to, oh, that's a good question. Yeah, how much money? That is a good point. Because am I winning $100 or like $1 million?
Let's just say 10 million.
10 million.
Yeah.
So many things I would do with that. So yeah, I'd buy tons of things I don't need, like tons of instruments. A kegerator seems like that would be a good choice. Actually, I'd probably just buy a bar, right? I wouldn't even need a kegerator. I could just buy a brewery, actually.
That's true, yeah.
Entrepreneurship is what I do with $10 million.
Yeah. I think...
What would I name the brewery? That's a good question. Run's House? I don't know.
Would you open the brewery in Harrisonburg, or would you open it in Virginia Beach, or somewhere totally different?
Whoa, the options are limitless. Why not everywhere?
Oh, an everywhere brewery. I love that.
Yeah, we'd open one everywhere. It'd be a brewery franchise.
Well, if I won $10 million, I would definitely begin investing in real estate. A good flip or flop. So if you want to have an HGTV show with me, maybe, where we open your breweries across the country, I mean, we can do it.
I think this is the start of a good partnership.
It really is. So would you rather have anything you touch turn to gold or to diamonds?
Is gold much worth right now? Worth much is what I meant to say. This is why I got rejected from JMU.
I couldn't tell you the value of gold.
I feel like they say diamonds are forever, so maybe diamonds.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm more of a silver fan too, so.
I think that totally makes sense. We can do like backroom dealings of diamonds in our brewery business. Yeah, this will be very profitable.
There's a real nice Valentine's Day promotion going on in there.
There really is. Come in and get a beer and also get a free diamond. For sure.
Yeah.
So if you could combine any two singers' voices and play that song constantly on the radio, whose voices do you think you would combine?
It's funny that you say that, because I think on the Q101 website, I think in my bio, I have something about wanting to combine the voices of Adele and Sarah Bareilles.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still behind that. I think that would sound amazing. Or like Alicia Keys and maybe like Kelly Clarkson, like they could sing about anything, and it would they could sing about like pollution, and it would still like put a tear in your eye.
Totally agree. I think that's a really good one. It looks like Mandy in the comments said Megan Moore and Meg Moore. So I would totally agree. Does anyone else have any other? Because that's one that I have no idea how I would answer. Does anyone have any other thoughts about what voices they would want to combine? Oh, okay. We have a JoJo Siwa fan in the crowd. Katie said JoJo Siwa and Mackenzie Ziegler. Mackenzie's
Is she sisters with Madeline Ziegler, the girl that dances in all the Sia videos?
I don't know. I don't. Katie would probably know best.
Yeah, Mackenzie is Maddie Ziegler's little sister who
Gotcha.
she like has these songs that she puts out under the name Mac Z.
Oh. And wait, is Mackenzie the one that's always on the top of the pyramid? Is that right?
No. Maddie's on the top of the pyramid. Mackenzie is not that good.
Oh. Well,
Very good at singing though, which is why she should join JoJo Siwa.
Yeah. Isn't it like, I think it might be JoJo Siwa's birthday or something. I think I saw that online.
It sure is. She's 17 today, folks.
Oh, wow. Well, that's the extent of my JoJo Siwa and incorrect Mackenzie Ziegler knowledge. But we would love if you would kind of go in now, Brandy, to telling us about what it's like working in radio and how you kind of got where you are.
I guess probably the easiest thing to do would just be to start from how I got into it. Going to school at Radford. I mean, you guys know the deal. You get there, you know, your freshman year, and you're kind of eager to see what college has to offer. And they had all the clubs out on the quad, and there was a radio club. And as someone that's a big fan of music, I've been a big fan of music my entire life. And it seemed like a pretty cool thing. Like, oh, I can learn radio and I can have my own show. And so I joined the radio club and learned how to do everything from actually putting records on and playing them, which I think that was like the first time I've ever like touched a vinyl. That's not how radio works anymore. The term DJ is not like, we don't actually put any CDs or anything into anything. Everything is all is computer driven basically. But I did that in college and had a lot of fun. I had my own little once a week show where I could play whatever I wanted to. And then when I graduated in 2008, so basically like what's happening right now, there was a lot of that happening in 2008 with the recession. So I moved back in with my parents, and it was really hard to find a job, but I knew that I wanted a career in something I enjoyed doing. And I actually went to school for media studies. I was a media studies major, so it was like a production concentration, and went to school to learn how to do camera work for news stations. So when I moved back in with my parents and was trying to find something that I could do for fun, or something I could do for a career, I applied to some TV stations and I applied to some radio stations because I was like, well, I know how to do this. And so I worked part-time at an ABC store, actually, which was good money if you're looking for something to do until you find your next job. And I worked at an ABC store part-time and then got a part-time gig in Virginia Beach. You'll probably know Cuda Z104 is where I worked at for a couple years. Worked there part-time, and in radio, to get into the bigger markets full-time, you have to have usually 3 to 5 years full-time experience. Virginia Beach is a top 50 market, pretty big, so no one there was going to quit or get fired. They were in a pretty good situation, so I needed to find a full-time job. I needed to get out of my parents' house because at that point I'd been there for 2 years, and mom was driving me crazy. So I love her though. So a job opened up here for Q101, and I applied for it in 2011. And now I've been here for about 8.5 years now. And I've gone from doing middays. I started 10 to 3, and then moved to afternoons for a few years. And then now I'm doing mornings, and I'm also program director for the station. So I kind of get to pick what new songs we add every week. I don't get too much control over it because it's a top 40 station, so we have to play the hits. But I'm kind of the boss of the station, which is interesting because it's not what I set out to do or what I wanted to do, but it's just something that kind of came along with it, and I enjoy what I do. And Harrisonburg was not where I thought it was going to be at for, I thought I would come here for a couple of years and then move on to the next place, and it's become a home. So I don't know. Sorry, I was talking a lot. It's what I do.
No, it's absolutely good. That was a really, really cool story. Does anyone have any kinds of questions for Brandy at all?
Brandy, this is Tim. One of the things that I think's so interesting about your story is that there isn't really a plan. And that's something I always talk to students about, is that you can have all the plans you want, but life happens. I just could you talk a little bit more about like how you, quote unquote, sort of made your own luck, or, you know, sort of made things work even when you didn't think that they were going to? Just sort of how did you persevere through those sort of challenges of living with your parents and things like that, and sort of create your own luck? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah. So, and I guess a funny story too of how I got my part-time job at Z104 is that I sent in so you send in like a 2-minute demo of basically just being like, oh, hey, you're listening to Z104 and we're playing the hits and here's blah, blah, blah. And you send it and you hope that someone listens to it and they think it's good. And so I actually sent my demo in the mail to the operations manager, who's basically the person that's in charge of all of the stations. And I think he kind of just was going to kind of blow me off and was like, oh, like, here, I'll send it to this person and this person and get in contact with them. And I don't think he thought that anything was going to come of it. But I ended up contacting the 2 names that he gave me. And one of the guys, whose name T.S. Schuster, who's the guy that hired me, was my first boss. He actually reached out to me and was like, hey, you sound good, would love to meet with you. It was when the Jonas Brothers were really hot the first time. And they were in Virginia Beach, and it was a big deal. So he's like, you know, after the Jonas Brothers leave town, we'll get in touch. And I never heard from this guy. So every day, I called him every day for a month and left a message on his answering machine saying, hey, we, you know, exchanged some emails a while back, would really love to meet with you. And literally left a message every day for a month. And then finally he called me back and he's like, obviously you want this job, so let's set up a meeting and come in and we'll do this. And that's what set the rest of this into motion. But basically if you want it, you just got to keep fighting for it. And I eventually ended up quitting my job at the ABC store so that I could work full-time, part-time at the radio station. So I was still working part-time, but they were giving me as many hours as they could. And they basically threw me into everything that I could learn. I did pretty much every department of radio that I could do, just hoping that, you know, that would show, one, that I wanted to be there, but also so that I was told to learn everything that you can while you can. And so that's what I did there. And that's just a little bit of kind of what got me to where I'm at now. So I don't know if that kind of answers a little bit of what you were going for, Tim.
That's awesome. That's exactly what I hope people pick out from that, is that you got to outwork and out hustle everybody, because oftentimes you can rely on everyone else to be lazy. And as long as you're willing to work harder than everybody else, things work out in the long run. So I appreciate it. It's a great story. I hope the students on here and others that are watching pick up on that and use it themselves. Thanks.
Yeah, there are a lot of people in radio that have a lot of talent. But if you don't have that attitude of wanting to be a team player and you know, actually wanting to work just as hard as everyone else, then you won't go far.
Yeah, totally. And it looks like in the comments, we have a couple questions. Okay, so first from Bella, random question, but an important one. Do you pour milk before cereal or cereal before milk?
I put the cereal first, and then I do the milk.
Yeah.
And then I like to then if I go for seconds, then I like to let that milk like sit that was there, and then pour more cereal and kind of like mix that up into a weird. That's how I roll.
Do you put more milk on top for the second if you go back for seconds, or
just like a little doop?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. So one from Katie. What is one motto or mantra that you hold on to in your life?
Um, Probably the old treat others as you want to be treated. Um, I just, I think everyone could pay to be kind, and everyone's going through stuff. And I know that I am much more thoughtful than a lot of people are. Um, I don't know, was that a humble brag? I'm not really sure, but um, I know how I can be, I think, a little bit maybe more sensitive um, to other people. So I try to be more considerate when I do things.
Yeah, totally. And it seems from all the conversations we've had so far that humble brag is very well deserved. Another question from Katie. Would you say that a hot dog is a sandwich?
Man, someone's like digging into like the archives. I've had this conversation before. And obviously, I at first I said a hot dog was not a sandwich, but obviously now I'm thinking about it because technically it kind of is. But if you don't eat the hot dog with the bun, then no, it's not a sandwich. So that's like an asterisk question.
Mm.
If you're keto, you might not use the bun.
Yeah.
Then it's just a hot dog.
I feel like that's the most insightful answer to that question that I've ever heard. I've never thought about yeah, that makes total sense. Next from Tim Miller, what's your morning routine like, and when do you get to work each day?
So I'm actually, this is past my bedtime. I usually go to bed at 8:00 because I get up at 4 a.m. and that's if I don't hit snooze. I have 3 alarms because I'm not a morning person at all. Right now, this is my time to thrive. And I don't think you ever really get used to morning radio, but I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Thankfully, I'm only 10 minutes away from the radio station because I can't imagine living in Stanton or Waynesboro, where some of my coworkers commute from, and having to get up that early. So I can luckily afford to hit snooze a couple times, but I usually get to the station at 5 o'clock. And then that's when we kind of do our prep. We kind of have an idea of what we want to talk about during the day, but overnight, so many things change that you just kind of want to be ready with all the news. So we'll spend about that hour just kind of prepping for the show, and then 6 o'clock hits and we're on air for 4 hours. And then after we get off air, we have to do, I think a lot of people too think that we just go on air and then all right, bye. That's the rest of my day, but it's not. So good question, Tim. All the commercials that you hear on the radio stations, we put those together. So, we get the script from the salesperson, which the salesperson has to spend so much time working with clients and things like that to get the wording of what they want their message to be. So we have to record those scripts. We have to find the music beds to go with them, and then we have to get them approved by sales and clients. All this, like I said, the music and everything that we do for the stations, while the computers do program it, we have to go in and plug things in. We have to say, okay, I want this song to play this many times, and it's a whole process. Computers are cool, but you still need human interaction to make things the best they can be. So there's a lot of that. I know tomorrow on Wednesdays, we do brainstorming meetings where we get together with sales and come up with different ideas and things like that. Those aren't so much right now just because a lot of our clients, their businesses aren't open. And if their businesses are open, right now financially, they're trying to figure out how to pay their employees. So radio advertisement kind of falls short when it comes to making sure that people, can provide for their families and themselves. So right now we're a lot slower than we normally would be, but usually we'd be ramping up right now with, it's summertime. So we'd be out at, Memorial Day weekend, car dealerships would be a big place we'd be at. We'd be at Valley Fest, the Massanutten Beer and Wine Fest this weekend, but those things aren't happening right now. So usually we'd be pretty busy, but we're kind of missing that, like I'm sure everyone is.
Yeah. And this is going to be the last question. What is one song that motivates you?
One song that motivates me. So I don't know if it's a song that motivates me, but me and my friends were recently having this conversation. It's this song that always, whenever I just find myself kind of, I don't know, getting into like a relaxy, chill mode, for some reason, I always find myself singing Sheryl Crow, All I Want to Do Is Have Some Fun. And I don't know why that is the song that just my brain constantly wants to sing. But it is. So obviously that song means something. I don't know what, but subconsciously I like it.
Yeah, it's a really great song, and Carson agrees. She just said a solid choice. Well, thank you so much, Brandy, and you're welcome to stay around for the rest of the hour if you would like. If not, I know that you have to be up at 4 a.m. So thank you so much for coming. And now we're going to throw it on over to Tim Miller for a garden talk with Tim.
Brandy, thanks again for being here. We really appreciate it. In honor of Brandy's visit, I'm going to go a little off my planned, very rough script and share a couple records real quick. Quick version of the story is my family used to do movie marathons where we'd all get together for a whole day, and it was always on or around my birthday, which is in December. And this is recent, like I was an adult when we did this. So anyway, one year we did Mission Impossible. And for those of you who don't know, the old Mission Impossible, the TV show, that was a TV show, the secret messages were actually on records. And they played them, and the records disappeared. And it sort of melted at the end. So one of the things that was interesting is that my birthday present that year, every year from my in-laws, matched whatever the movie marathon was. So that year I got a record player, and I got all of their old records. And so I just want to share a couple that I think are really interesting. So these are 45s. So these are singles for those that don't know. This is, 99 cents, used to be on Amazon or on Apple. So this is Afternoon Delight by the Starland Vocal Band. You may have heard that. Most people only know that from Anchorman. Classic Show Me the Way by Peter Frampton. One of the most popular live albums ever. I assume everyone knows Hotel California by the Eagles. Jet Airliner by Steve Miller Band. Hard to see that. And then the most random of all things that they had, I assume everyone on here knows Star Wars, or if they don't, we should send them to the waiting room. But the Star Wars Cantina Band, Star Wars themed Cantina Band. But the worst part about this, I'll try and figure out if I can play this for you next time. It's actually a disco version. And it's terrible. I didn't know, I don't like the original anyway, but it's even worse as a disco thing, because no offense to the 70s, I think disco made everything worse in the world. So although I did enjoy certain moments, Saturday Night Fever was pretty good. So it's raining out, if you don't know. I totally went roller skating to it. So it's going to be a little hard for you all to see, but I'm going to go ahead and brave the weather here for you all. So I have a sun here in this area than I do in Falls Church. So let me go over here first. So I'm going to give you all a sense of what we got here. So these are all my beans and cucumber we're growing. In case you're wondering, this is what we call a greenhouse. This is where I grew everything to start the year so I can protect it. Out here, these are just flowers because I'm trying to get something for the bees to enjoy. And then, this is going to be all bok choy. These are different pots for bok choy, which is my favorite kind of lettuce item. And then these are all strawberries. And then really nice tomato here, another tomato, and then a couple pepper plants there. So that's the small garden. I have a much larger garden in Falls Church. So while I transition to my second favorite topic, I'm going to share with you all a dad joke I heard on TikTok last night. And as we go, you can check out, this is my Mad For You Baby Yoda painting that I did. I actually painted that. All right, so the TikTok is her two doors. Any guesses?
Tim, you'll have to repeat your joke.
Oh,
Only
my Wi-Fi cut off.
lost your Wi-Fi for a quick second, so no one caught your joke. You'll have to
All
start.
right, you all hear me? Can you hear me right now? Great. Why do chicken coops only have two doors? Any guesses? Because if it had four doors, it would be a chicken sedan. I know. All right, so my second area here, this is my music room. Hopefully I'll keep my Wi-Fi back here. So here's the piano that I still don't really know how to, pianos that I don't still know how to play that well. I'll come back around. This is my newest item. Yes, that's actually a purple guitar. These, they only cost me 150 bucks each compared to the normal couple $1,000. And then this that I love to play. So it's a bass in here too. So there's the bass amp. So beauty of the drum set is once at work, I got a bonus. Let me turn this around. You don't need to see all the boxes I have in my living room. Once at work, I got a bonus for stepping up and doing an extra job. And I'd always wanted a drum set. And Jamie had always wanted nothing to do with the drum set in our house. So I essentially said, if I give you half the bonus to do whatever you want to do, can I use my half to buy a drum set? And somehow that worked. So I don't remember what she bought. I think it was a David Yurman something. And I got a drum set and it worked really well. But the irony of it is that didn't mean that she was going to be excited for me to ever play it in the house. So I've actually played drums more in the last 2 years since I've been here in a house by myself than I did the last 8 years when I was, actually living in the same house. Because if you're not aware, drum sets are rather challenging to focus and do anything else while that's happening in your house. So those are two of my favorite things. I'll go back to gardening real quick. If you want to get started, it's incredibly easy. I'm probably the world's worst gardener because I've killed so many plants over the years. But the things I've learned is start with a couple things that you feel like you can do well. I love to eat tomatoes and I love to eat peppers, so I usually start with them. I think it's fun to start things from seed. It's also very rarely successful to start with things from seed. So spend the extra $2 and go to Home Depot or a local garden shop and just buy a couple little seedlings that are ready to go. And just try it. I mean, in the end, what are you going to lose? But I love all the peppers, all the peppers, the cucumbers and the beans, all those are from seed. And all you got to do is, follow the instructions. It's a very basic thing. It says on the package what to do. Actually do those things. Assume that you're not smarter than the people who came up with the instructions in the first place. And I just think it's fun to grow things. I mean, I've got a bunch of plants in here that I just love sort of being a part of like that process of growing things. And there's something about eating a meal that you made. So I just think, take a chance, buy a couple things, throw them in your window. If you're in a small place, if you got space outside, do them there. But there's nothing better than eating a tomato that you pulled right off the vine, or grabbing a couple peas in the morning, eating those as you walk to work or wherever you're going. So growing things from scratch is pretty awesome. So I highly recommend it. And another time I'll show you all the Falls Church garden, which is much bigger. We have we just did an almond tree planted 3 years ago. We have almonds for the first time this year. So that'll be an exciting thing to add to our lives, is fresh grown almonds in our own yard. So I've gone over my 6 minutes I was allotted, so I will stop there and pass it on back.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Tim, for all those fun gardening tips and the house tour, and also all the fun vinyl. If you want to join Brandy and I on our show, we would love a gardener to join us in our brewery endeavor. So now we're actually going to go into a fun game. So we are going to pull that up real quick. And this game is called What's Up, Doc? Like Bugs Bunny. And I know we were thinking, how are we going to have a game about Bugs Bunny? However, that is not going to be what happens here. Okay, so here it comes. It should be up on your screen right now. So on the next slide, I'm going to just briefly explain the rules. So it's pretty simple. We are going to break you out into different breakout rooms just so that you can introduce yourself, say hi, you can share your name, your year, major, whatever you want. And then you're briefly going to come up with a team name, and you're going to have like 2 minutes or so to go through that. And then you're going to actually come back here, and then we will go further into the rules. Okay, so now Sierra is going to send you guys off into different breakout rooms, and yeah, we'll see you guys in just a minute. Cool. It turns out I could just deny. Wait, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So that works good.
Awesome. And are you still good with like the same structure where I'm like, who is this TV doctor commonly associated with such hits as Bad Baby? I don't remember what her name is. Catch Me Outside. How about that?
I love
that. Somebody will type the answer, and then Dr. Phil, woo! And then, yeah, along the lines of that. Is that good for you?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay. How long did you give them in their breakout rooms?
It's until I close them.
Okay, so I'm thinking another minute, if that works for you.
Yep, that's cool.
I kind of forgot English for part of the show, I have to say.
You did really. You feel like you've done, I think, very smoothly.
I called her Brady, and then I was like,
oh.
I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. How many breakout rooms did you make?
2.
2? Okay, that's perfect.
Oh my gosh, this is great. This is really good. She's really good. Y'all flow really well, so that's fun.
She was so fun. I really liked her.
Yeah, I did.
I feel bad because I don't like really listen to the radio because I don't have a car at this point. I was like, uh-oh.
I know. Yeah, I don't listen to the radio either. So.
Yeah, but I do intend to. I'm excited to hear her in the mornings. Probably won't be awake for most of her shows, but when I wake up.
Yeah, I was like, now I might tune in just to hear hers.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit. But okay, alrighty, it's been a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and close them.
Okay.
All right. Oh, it says it's a countdown. They close in 55 seconds. Okay.
Okay. Okay, we're just waiting on I think the other team. Yeah.
This is great. We're excited. We just shout out some answers.
So once we, yeah, we can do it that way. So, okay, sweet. Everyone's back. So how this game is going to work is there's going to be a doctor that appears on the screen, a TV doctor per se. There are other kinds of doctors. You'll see it when we get there. But so what you're going to do is you're going to unmute yourself and you are just going to say your team name and the doctor that it is. And whoever gets it first, whatever team gets it first, they get a point. And in the end, you win the ultimate bragging rights of being the smartest docs around. Okay, so if one person from each team was just willing to unmute themselves and share the team name for their teams.
Group 1 is Chicken Sedan.
Chicken Sedan. In group 2, what's your team name?
Group 2 is Quarantine.
Quarantine. Oh,
Guess who came up with that one?
you? I like it. Those are both dad joke-esque teams. Okay, so we have the Chicken Sedans against the Quarantines. Okay, so before we begin, does anyone have any questions about the rules or anything? Nope. Okay, so we're going to go off with our first doctor. Okay, who knows?
And Dr. Phil.
Chicken Sedans, Dr. Phil. Okay, first point goes to you, and then on the next slide, it confirms Dr. Phil. Okay, so next one.
Chicken Sedan, Dr. Miller.
Dr. Tim Miller, yes, see, not a TV doctor, but also another very important doctor.
I can't believe I didn't get that. Sorry.
Next time you'll get him. Okay, so for the next doctor?
Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Oh, I think Megan was first. What did you say?
Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Yes, and you're in quarantine?
Yeah.
Okay, so close race so far. Chicken Sedans have 2 and Quarantine has 1. Okay, so on to the next doctor.
Meredith
Chicken Sedan, Dr. Grey.
Oh,
Great.
there were so many people at once. I heard. I honestly have no idea who said it first.
Carson called it. Carson called it in the chat.
Oh, Carson got it? Okay. Carson said Brandy got it first? Oh, Bella got it first. Okay, Bella, what team are you on?
Quarantine.
Quarantine, okay. Probably better way to go about this going forward, type your name in the chat first. So, okay, so you just saw it. Oh, okay. So on to the next one. Okay, so Bella.
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. Okay, Quarantine now takes the lead with 3 points versus Chicken Sedan with 2. So technically not a TV doctor, but we're still vibing with the doctors. Okay, so up next. Bella.
Doc McStuffins.
Yep, right again. Doc
You know where
McStuffins.
the cure for quarantine or for Corona is? We need her more now than ever.
I mean, yeah, she fixes toys, but I guess she'll cure the world too. Okay, so for the next one, Katie.
Oh, wait, I got too excited. Oh no, now I'm blanking. I'm the worst.
Brandy.
Yeah, if someone just said it in the chat, Doc Martens.
Doc Martens. Brandy, what team are you on?
Chicken Sedan. Chicken coop, Chicken Sedan.
Excellent. So 3-4 with the Chicken Sedans trailing by 1. Okay, so on to the next one. This one is a hard one. He's a super villain. Oh, Dr. Tim Miller.
Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom. What team are you on?
Quarantine.
Quarantine now having a stronger lead with 5-3. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This one's a superhero. Oh, Dr. Miller.
Dr. Strange. I'm a total nerd. I love this. Keep going.
Okay.
Dr. Stephen Strange, actually, but whatever.
Yeah. Okay, on to the next one. You actually just heard about this one, Sarah.
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Soy Sabias K. And you're on the chicken sedans, correct? Cool. Okay, so we have time for just a couple more. So on to the next one. Okay, Bella.
Google Doc.
Google Doc. Wow, I have to say I'm kind of funny for this one. But yeah, Google Docs. Okay, so we have time for two last ones. Okay, Katie.
Dr. Dolittle.
Dr. Dolittle. Are you chicken sedans or quarantine?
Chicken sedan.
Chicken sedan. Okay, so this one will be the last doctor we have. Bella.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, yes.
Yeah, Bella.
So, in the end, the quarantine are the winners. Congratulations, everybody. And that was your very fun game of What's Up Doc. And it will be coming to a box office store near you once you are allowed to them, except not really because Hasbro hasn't responded to my emails. Kind of hurts my feelings, but anyways, thank you guys so much for having me as your student host. It was a very amazing 2 weeks, and we have so many more great student hosts and special guests coming up in the future. Thank you so much for Brandy for coming on and being absolutely amazing in the hot seat and sharing great stories and answering all the questions. And now I'm going to hand it over to Tim Miller for some last announcements and to close it on out.
So I got nothing. So who's going to tell me what I'm supposed to say? All right, there we go. Announcements. Next week, Nathan Sese. I never know exactly how to say that one, but he said it that way once in a meeting, so I'm going to assume that's right. And Katie O'Rourke and Trip Perks and me are going to do a contest that I will note in my life. I have been a part of this contest once, and I won the whole thing. So Katie and Trip, bring it. You better practice. And you can't practice this one at all. So
I'm ready.
am I allowed to name what it is, Carson?
Third in the chat
will.
already, so you can.
Yeah, name that poo. Yep.
Hmm.
An actual game that someone came up with. All I got to say is that when people have babies, everyone around them goes nuts and comes up with weird games. So that's the game we're going to play. Name that poo. Yep. Megan, your face tells it all. Yep. It's just not right. But anyway, excited to have you all here. Cuda, thanks so much for doing this 2 weeks in a row. You set a very high bar for everyone to follow. I hope the rest of you on here will sign up and reach out to us to do another date or join us or whatever you want to do. We'd love to have you all be a part of it for the summer so we can stay in touch. And as always, for Sierra and Rebecca and Carson, thank you all so much for everything you all have done to make this possible. Hope you all enjoyed this week. We will be back next week. I'll be actually coming to you from the Outer Banks. So, yeah, I don't even feel bad about it. I'm going to be in the Outer Banks. So, yeah, and Jamie will be with me. She'll probably poke her head on, and then her best friend, who's actually the national president of their sorority, Alpha Sigma Tau, will also be with us. So maybe I'll get them both to pop in and say hello. So yeah, that's what I've got. Rebecca, Carson, Sierra, anything else I'm forgetting? You gonna do a little outro kind of music thing, or what are we doing? No? All right, great. Go Dukes, have a great week.